My worst memory? Yes, of course. I remember it. It is the one thing I will never forget. Our party completed its latest quest. It was one of the hardest and worst experiences in our lives. So much blood was spilled. So many tears were shed. But it was all worth it. Elias proved to himself and the gods that he could change the fate itself. And for his courage, he was rewarded with a legendary blade that was rumored to have no equal. Charlie made peace with her past, and in her epiphany, she finally mastered the Eternal Element spell. Only the first Elf Queen managed to master it before. Lucy chose compassion over violence, and for kindness, the Abyss Beast chose her as its first master. The monster that had entire religions formed around it would now serve the country's deadliest assassin. And me? Well, I found some rare berries and leaves. But even though my friends' levels soared to just below the legendary level 100, I was happy for them. Even though my own level was barely a third of what they had, they never made me feel like I didn't belong. They encouraged me when I was ready to give up. They supported me when I looked for ways to catch up. And even though I was often mocked and looked down on by other adventurers, they were always there to remind me how important I was to them. Not just as a healer, but as their dear friend. And then they kicked me out. I remember standing in front of the city gate, my body numb and eyes wide in shock as I tried to process the words I just heard. "We don't need you anymore, Matthew." Elias spoke with a cold and hard gaze, the warm and welcoming smile gone. I didn't recognize the man before me. I remember asking if it was a joke. My disbelief turned into despair as I begged for my friends to tell me what I did wrong. My despair morphed into pain as I promised to do better. None of them even looked in my direction at this point. They turned around and started walking away. Our conversation ended. I didn't want it to end. I could still talk sense into them. I chased after but tripped on some vines. I recognized the feeling of Charlie's magic in them as the plants locked around my ankle like a shackle. "Please, I promise you I will do better." I was sobbing on the ground at that point, pathetic and weak and afraid of being alone. "Please, I am begging you." I thought that their silence would hurt me the most. I was wrong. "Do you really want to come with us?" Lucy asked, her voice dismissive and annoyed. She didn't even bother to look in my direction when she threw her dagger at me. "Then use this to cut yourself out of the vines. If you do, we will let you follow us." I grabbed the dagger and started to saw away at the plants. But no matter how much I slashed or stabbed at them, they refused to free me. But I didn't care. I continued to swing the blade like a man possessed, desperately trying to remove at least one of them. But these were not regular vines. These were the vines imbued with the magic of eternal elements, and Charlie made them harder than the steel of the dagger. My hopes of staying with the party shattered, along with the tiny blade. "I guess we are done here," Elias spoke, his back turned on me in disappointment. "Just like the other two. Don't follow us, Matthew. You will only slow us down." The vines disappeared once my former party was out of sight. I still remained on the ground, wallowing in pity and despair over what happened. I hated myself. I hated how weak I was. I hated how pathetic I was. I hated how lonely I was. I tried to move on. I tried to get a fresh start. But I couldn't. The rumors of my dismissal spread, and soon my reputation was even worse than before. Nobody believed me when I said I was simply kicked out. No. According to the other adventurers, there had to be something more. The rumors morphed and mutated from one person to another with every passing day. It covered every single evil and wrong one could commit as a member of the party, from stealing the loot to trying to kill my friends in their sleep. I wasn't banned from taking quests, but no other party wanted to take me in, and the potential clients refused to hire me once they heard the rumours. I tried to go somewhere else, but the whispers and news of my banishment from the party followed me around like a curse. Even worse, some started to believe I was actually cursed. I started to believe that myself once I saw my level go down. No matter where I went for treatment or advice, I was given no answer or comfort. All that it did was add even more fuel to the rumours as adventurers and guilds started avoiding me like a plague. They feared that it was something contagious, that if they so much as shook hands with me, their levels would go down too. I tried fighting monsters on my own. Forget the quests, forget the money. All I wanted to do was hold on to my current level. But no matter how many low-level beasts I killed, I could only stave off the inevitable. Every time I went to sleep, I saw my level regress, and it continued to go down. All I could do was sink further into despair. By the time 3 months passed after my banishment, I was down to level 1. Surrounded by bottles of cheap booze I spent my last few coins on, I could only sit in the old shack on the outskirts of some old town and wait to hit 0. I tried to figure out where it all went wrong for me. What exactly did I do that I deserved to live like this? I was weaker than my friends, and was that really it? Was weakness such a horrible sin that I deserved to spend the rest of my life like this? Was it such a horrible crime that I was punished worse than if I was a murderer? It wasn't fair. It wasn't just. It wasn't... I threw an empty bottle against the wall. I watched it shatter. It made me feel good for some reason. Damn it all to hells! I threw another bottle, and the next. I continued to smash the empty bottles against the wall and the floor in a fit of rage and frustration, enjoying the little power I had to break something. I cut my foot on one of the shards, falling over drunk and getting even more shards into my skin. And as I lay down among the broken bottles, I saw it. The answer to all my problems in the form of a pendant. It was the only valuable I had on me at this point, a gift from my friends from the better times. But looking at it didn't fill me with warmth anymore. My heart and mind could no longer picture a day when we would stand together once again. Instead, it filled my soul with hate, but not towards myself. It's all their fault. That single thought was like a spark in the dry fields, burning so gently at the beginning, but turning into raging fires with every passing second. It's all their fault! I could see and feel my level dropping down into dreaded 0. But I didn't care. Not when this feeling of hate felt so good. It's all their fault. Sweeter and more intoxicating than any brew, I could feel hatred course through my veins. It burned, but not painfully. No, it was a cleansing fire that rushed through my entire being. It was burning away any doubt and regret. It was setting fire to my happy memories and thoughts, leaving nothing but ashes in their place. And as I stared at the ceiling, my body and mind ablaze with this hatred, I saw the status window warp from its usual blue to sick and twisted red. Level 0 breached. Abomination system unlocked. Negative level 1. Abomination system? Negative level? I didn't care anymore. I didn't care for anything but satisfying that hunger for revenge. That desire to hurt everyone and everything within reach. And what happened then? You know exactly what happened, Elias, I hissed, my temper getting the better of me. I killed. I leveled up. I gained followers. I built an empire. And then I killed everyone I could get my hands on. I didn't even care about killing you guys at that point anymore. I just wanted to kill. Didn't really matter who it was. And I did. With my abomination system, murder was as easy as breathing. I even ended up toppling the Void Emperor and his empire before my friends, killing the supposed god of evil with laughable ease. I didn't even realize whose head I stomped into paste until his subjects started screaming. It was idiocy. It was insanity. It was a sick joke. You guys kicked me out to save me from him, and I killed him like he was a baby. Do you know how easy it is to kill a baby? Because I did it. Multiple times. Personally, too. Elias was quiet, not looking me in the eye. Gods above, Elias. Say something! I looked in my former friend's face. Well, what remained of it, at least. Hells! You are dead, aren't you? I laughed, pulling my twisted hand out of his chest. Gods, I am so not used to this skill. Shared sorrows gave me the ability to gaze upon the worst and most painful memories of anyone I killed. Despite the lack of combat applications, it did have a lot of use in intelligence and strategies. I could see every mistake the generals made in their past plans. I could also use those memories to torment the survivors. And when I removed the hearts of my former party members, I saw their greatest regret. And there was nothing that haunted them more than abandoning me. I saw the strong and brave Elias drown his sorrows in some cheap tavern. He got into a fight with some drunkards, and when they started hitting him, he welcomed every punch to dull the pain of what he did to me. I saw the loving and bright Charlie look down hatefully at her hands. She was wondering why she restrained me with her vines, instead of being honest. I saw the cool and aloof Lucy weep like a child as she screamed her heart out. Her familiar tried to comfort her, promising that I would be safe, just as they all wanted me to be. You bastards should have let me come. I could only stand quietly as my horse devoured the last of the humanity outside the castle. I saw my extermination points increase until I hit the new negative level. Negative level 100. You have one new skill available. Just one. I wasn't too disappointed. All kingdoms have fallen. All humans and beasts have died. All my subjects were an extension of me. So I was all alone in this world. Even if it was a powerful ability, I had no one to use it on but myself. Still, I could at least save my curiosity. Show me. Seed of Abomination. Transport your essence into a random point of your past. Grow mightier. Act smarter. Be crueler. Let the end of all come even earlier. Limitation. One-time use. I knew the Abomination system well by now. It was not like the other systems. It was a living thing that existed for the sake of nothing but cruelty. Every skill it ever gave me, and every quest it sent me on, all of it served only one purpose: spreading death and misery. I was no exception to that. The system wanted me to go back in time and try to fix everything. It wanted to watch me struggle to prevent every evil I would go on to commit. It wanted to see me fail. Bring it on, I whispered, as I activated the skill. You will regret giving me your way back. In a flash of light, I was gone from this world. Hey, leave him alone. I recognized that voice almost immediately. Come on, Elias, we were just playing around. Yeah, it was just a game. Oh, really? The young man glared the older guys down. Then perhaps I should play with you as well. He cracked his knuckles, not even bothering to reach for his sword. When Elias wanted to use his fists, he didn't care for such things as respect or honor. If you pissed him off enough to make him fight barehanded, he would make it hurt. The other two knew it well by now, and fled. Gods above, can you believe some people? He scoffed, before offering me a hand. You all right there, my fellow newbie? I chuckled. Calling me a fellow newbie almost made us sound like equals, even though his level was already 52 to my measly 15. My negative level was still at 100, however. I'll live. I took his hand with a grateful, if unsure, smile. Thanks for helping me out. It wasn't much. The name is Elias Bright, by the way. Pleasure to meet you. Matthew Pietra. So, Matthew, have you found yourself a party yet? I knew what the correct answer was. I could tell him that I have and leave. It would be easier to do what I needed. I also didn't wish for him or any of my former friends to be near me if my abomination system acted up. How about joining my party? Elias offered. You're a healer and we could really use one. No. I shook my head. You should get someone with a higher level for your party. Who cares about levels? My old man is 10 levels below me and still kicks my ass when it comes to technique, running a house, and being a man in general. Besides... He places his hand on my shoulder with a smile. You can always get stronger. Stick with me and you will be level 100 before you know it. It was a boast if he ever heard one. Even back then, I didn't believe the guy. Logically, at least. And yet right now, seeing him look at me with such faith and confidence made me believe in myself once again. So you really think I can do it? I echoed my question from the past. Hey, I don't just say that to everyone, you know. He smirched cheekily. It's my special skill. I've got an eye for talent. Very well, I said, and extended my hand. Looking forward to working with you. As Elias shook my hand, I could hear the abomination system laughing at me. A new quest appeared. Countdown to inevitable. You have chosen to walk the path that once led to ruin. Can you redeem yourself and kill your own future? Success. Destruction of abomination system. Plus rep with hero's party. Plus experience points. Failure. Rule of abomination system. Minus rep with hero's party. Plus extermination points. Plus forever horror spellbook. Plus armor of atrocities. Plus blade of bloodshed. I glared at the list of perks that abomination system tried to bribe me with. My mind was clear now of its influence, however. I was no longer a slave to its madness. But one thing was worrying. The quest stated that I needed to prevent a tragedy, and for me it was being kicked out of the party. If I was to abandon by my friends, would I be locked into the future without any possibility of changing things after that? The way Abomination System laughed in my ears suggested that much. I had less than a year to make sure I wasn't kicked out of the party. Matthew, are you coming or not? Elias asked. We got a lot of work ahead of us, and we still need more members. Of course. I joined Elias on the search for the rest of our party. Lead the way. In just 1 year, I would either be free from the abomination system, or become its slave forever.